How do I say this without sounding too dramatic? But if you've been following NASCAR closely lately, you've probably felt it too. Something just feels off. Like we're watching a major shift happening in real time, one that nobody was really ready for. At the same time, there's a growing tension in the garage. It's not just about speed or performance anymore, it's about the future. Big decisions are coming. Careers are at a crossroads. And honestly, this feels like one of those moments we'll look back on years from now and say, yeah, that's when everything changed. Because right now, we have not one, but two major stories shaking up the NASCAR world, and they're connected in a way that makes this whole situation even wilder. Trust me, what's happening is more than surprising. It's the kind of thing that makes you seriously wonder what's next for one of the biggest names we've followed for nearly 2 decades. But before we jump in, if you're a real NASCAR fan like me, do me a quick favor, hit that like button and consider subscribing. This channel is brand new, and we are pushing hard to reach 15,000 subscribers. We're all about real talk, honest reactions, and covering everything happening in NASCAR every single week. All right, let's get into it. The first story is one I never thought I'd be talking about as a NASCAR fan: Kyle Busch. Yes, that Kyle Busch, the 2-time Cup Series champion, one of the most dominant drivers of all time. The guy who made winning look easy for almost 20 years is now on a 1-0-0 race winless streak. Let that sink in. When Kyle left Joe Gibbs Racing after the 2022 season and joined Richard Childress Racing in the number 8 Chevrolet, it felt like the perfect reset. And at first, it looked like a brilliant move. He won at Auto Club Speedway early in 2023, picked up his 3rd win by early June, and suddenly he was right back in the championship conversation. It felt like a classic comeback story, but since then, nothing. No wins for the rest of 2023. None in 2024. None in 2025. And now, 7 races into 2026, the drought has officially reached 100 races, the longest of his entire career. To put that in perspective, his previous worst stretch was just 36 races back in 2016, 2017. This is on a completely different level, and it's not just the wins. Through the first 7 races of 2026, Kyle sits 24th in points. His best finish is only 12th. He hasn't recorded a single top 8 finish yet, something that has never happened this deep into a season in any of his previous 21 years in Cup Series, even in his worst seasons. His 9-year streak of winning at least 1 race every season ended in 2024. He missed the playoffs in 2024 for the first time since 2012, and missed them again in 2025. Now in 2026, he doesn't even look close to being a contender. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Kyle Busch is in the final year of his contract with Richard Childress Racing. He turns 41 inches May. So the question is no longer just, can he win again? It's, will he even still be racing full-time in the Cup Series in 2027? We've seen drivers perform at a high level well into their 40s, so age isn't the only issue. The bigger problem is performance, and the fact that Richard Childress Racing hasn't been at the level of the top teams for quite some time. With silly season looking much more chaotic this year than 2025, when only 2 full-time rides changed hands, things are about to get very real for Kyle. So the big question is Kyle Busch really going to be stuck on 63 career wins forever? Or is there still one more chapter left somewhere else? We might start getting answers as soon as this weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway, a track where he's won 8 times. If there's any place he can flip the script, it's Bristol. But right now, the pressure is enormous. Now, Here's the second part of the story, and this is where it gets really interesting. If Kyle does leave Richard Childress Racing after 2026, where could he actually go? Right now, there are 5 realistic possibilities being discussed. 1. Stay at Richard Childress Racing. It doesn't feel likely after everything we've seen, but it's not completely impossible. There have been some small positive signs during this drought. If they can find consistency, maybe he sticks around for 1 more year. Still, it feels like a long shot. 2. Spire Motorsports. This one actually makes a lot of sense. They have Carson Hocevar locked in long-term in the number 77, but the rest of the seats are wide open. Michael McDowell is also 41, and Daniel Suarez is in a prove-it year. Plus, there's already a strong connection. Kyle sold his Truck Series team, Kyle Busch Motorsports, to Spire after 2023, and he's been running and winning with them in trucks. With his son Brexton coming up through the ranks, this could even be a long-term family move. 3. Hendrick Motorsports. Yes, that Hendrick Motorsports, where Kyle started his Cup career over 20 years ago. This would likely depend on Alex Bowman's future in the number 48. Bowman has struggled and had multiple health-related absences. If Hendrick wants a veteran instead of going young, especially if they can't get someone like Connor Zilisch, Kyle could be an option. It's unlikely, but not impossible. Don't forget, HendrickCars.com has already sponsored Kyle in the Truck Series with Spire. 4. Legacy Motor Club. This one is intriguing because of the Toyota connection. A reunion with Denny Hamlin at 23 XI Racing seems unlikely now, as they're committed to Riley Herbst in 2026 and Corey Heim in 2027. However, Legacy Motor Club, co-owned by Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty, is planning to expand to 3 cars in 2027. Teaming up with 2 legends like Johnson and Petty would be one hell of a storyline. 5. Step away from the Cup Series. Not retire from racing entirely, Kyle has made it clear he still wants to chase a Truck Series championship, but possibly move away from full-time Cup racing. If that happens, he would instantly become a title favorite in trucks, especially with Spire. But let's be honest, that's probably not what most fans want to see. And it might not be what Kyle wants either. Because deep down, it still feels like there's something left in the tank. At the end of the day, this isn't just about a 1-0-0 race winless streak. It's about the future of one of the greatest drivers of his generation. Is this the beginning of the end, or the setup for one last comeback? I'm not ready to count Kyle Busch out yet. But I'd be lying if I said this didn't feel different this time. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think happens next with Kyle Busch? Does he stay with RCR, move to Spire, Hendrick, Legacy Motor Club, or are we watching the final chapter of his Cup Series career? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this honest, no-filter NASCAR conversation, make sure to like the video and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. We're just getting started on our way to 15,000 subscribers and building a real community of fans who live and breathe this sport.